Okie doke.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kenny Ajayi and you're all welcome. If you've been following this channel, you will know that we have been discussing issues around mental health. And today I have a special guest with me. She's a very dear friend of mine and a sister, and she will be just discussing issues around um, like linking nutrition and mental health. So she's a nutritionist and she's the founder of the Nutritious Lifestyle. So I'll give her the time to introduce herself. So, Dolapo, well, thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself and let our viewers know you.
Yeah, I think I was hearing an echo sound, but if it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dolapo Enjoy is my name, and can I go on?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm Dolapo Enejo, and I'm a nutritionist, and I've worked with patients in the hospitals. I've worked in the food processing and food manufacturing, and I've also worked in international development, where we now work around developing policies, formulating policies in collaboration with the federal government, the state government, with different set of stakeholders in order to ensure that we have the kind of environment that will help people to thrive in nutrition, business, and every other thing, related or linked with nutrition. So I'm happy to be your guest today, Kendi. Thank you for having me on your channel. And I'm really looking forward to having this conversation around linking nutrition to mental health issues. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dolapo. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that you are here. You know that when people hear of mental health, mostly we think of emotions, feelings, and behavior. But a lot of people, including me, we really don't know how what we eat or our nutrition affects our mood. So I would like you to just talk a little bit on that, on how, on this link, how does it link up with our mood on what we eat?
Okay. There are two serious mental illnesses. So when you talk about clinical depression, and you also have schizophrenia, and these are conditions, that has to do with people not having interest in pleasure, or having issues with their mood, or not wanting to do anything interesting. And there are a lot of things that you can link or associate with that in terms of nutrition. So when you talk about food and mood, different researchers have conducted research and have come up with different solutions. I wouldn't really call it solutions, but to really kind of deep dive into what links the links between nutrition and mental health, and to be able to understand the association between both, and to be able to provide the kind of solution that would help people to get better in terms of different types of mental illness. Yes, right. It's right as you said, as you rightly said. Nutrition has uh, strong association links with mental illness, and some of the strategies that researchers have come up with in terms of helping people with mental health, using diet. You look at people try to restrict sugar in their diet. People also try to restrict saturated fat. So people eat more fish. You know that fish contains more omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids. Those are your polyunsaturated fatty acids, which some people term as good fats. You understand? So people who have mental illnesses, based on previous research conducted by several scientists and linking nutrition to mental illnesses. Uh, these are some of the outcomes that people have come up with, researchers most importantly, linking eating more fish, eating more fruit and vegetables to good mood. And when you restrict sugar in your diet and restrict saturated fat in your diet, people say that it also improves. Researchers, have come up with research saying that it has a strong positive association with improving mental wellness. So these are the popular strategies that researchers have come up with in terms of linking nutrition to diet. Linking nutrition or diet to mental illness or to curing clinical depression. So these are strategies that people uh, advocate for in terms of helping people to get well with people who have mental illnesses, people who have mental challenges, issues. So I would also talk about the fact that uh, when we look at clinical depression, maybe we should first start by rolling out some statistics around issues around mental illnesses. So I think around 2019, the World Health Organization came up with a figure saying that, so statistically, we have a 77% of Nigerians coming down with mental clinical depression. So, and they are linked with a lot of things. So, a loss of interest or pleasure. People just generally have mood swings.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the economic situation of the country. You can talk about other things. There are other symptoms that they can be linked with, other things that we can link mental illness with in terms of uh, economic situation, in terms of unemployment challenges. The people have different issues that people cannot even voice out. I remember that sometime people started coming up with helpline that you can reach out to if you have any issue that you cannot talk to anyone about. Please call this line. People started coming up with different strategies to help people who have mental issues. And in Nigeria, the kind of environment we have, we can be quick to judge. To just say, that person is going mental, like that person is that person. But it doesn't just start one day.
Yeah.
It's a build up.
Yeah.
When you start having issues you're going through, maybe your personal life, in your family life, and you cannot open up to people, and you keep bottling those thoughts up in your mind, before you know what is happening, you start messing up with a psychological orientation, and is also linked to diet. So we use diet to cure it, and there are things that you can also do that you can eat some particular type of food that it can mess up with your mood. You understand? And that's why there is a strong association and a strong link between nutrition and mental illness. And I will just talk about some of the symptoms that one may likely experience when you have mental illness. So there is loss of interest or pleasure. There is weight loss or weight gain, as the case may be. Some people will say, "Oh, I'm having emotional issues and I'm engaged in emotional eating." You just see some people just taking how many bottles of Coke, for example. Let me not use the word Coke, soda. Yeah, because Coke could mean something else in another clime.
Country, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody will just, start taking soda, popping soda. Like you can pop how many cans of soda in a day, and you're just consuming, and before you know what is happening, somebody is gaining weight because they have issues that they are going through in their personal life that they cannot, maybe they do not feel free, or they've not found a safe zone or a comfortable environment where they can share such, personal issues. And I think that is one thing that we need to now do so well in Nigeria. I know some hospitals, you see your GP, and when they ask you questions, some GP would go the extra mile, not to just diagnose what is happening to you clinically, but we just generally ask you, are you okay? Are you fine? Like, just trying to want to know what other challenges you're facing, because sometimes it's not even just about, you know, being diagnosed with any type of sickness. People go through different challenges, different issues that has now accumulated to, you know, lead to other clinical issues within their body. Because when you are depressed, it's a clinical situation. And then it now starts, I mean, it links to other things within the body that you now have to deal with. For example, some of the symptoms that you have insomnia or hypersomnia. Some people, you know, there is lack of sleep. People are not able to sleep well, or people oversleep. It's still part of the symptoms of clinical depression. Also, when there is loss of energy, like you don't have drive to do anything, you are not energetic towards, you know, doing anything, you're not driven, you're not passionate about anything. It's still some of the signs of clinical depression, where you feel guilty or worthless, or you feel that you're not achieving something. You know, there is poor concentration as well. There is also thoughts about death or suicide, and that has also been found to become I mean, it's on an increasing rate on a daily basis in Nigeria, whereby when you look at statistical data with World Health Organization, for example, amongst 100,000 people in Nigeria, about 9 to 5 people are prone to committing suicide. So what are we doing, or how should we do better in helping people? How should we open our doors to people to, you know, to be able to open up on issues that maybe they will not be able to discuss with people within their family, or they just want somebody who would, you know, be able to keep it confidential with them. And that's why you see that in other climes, people who are mental therapists or people who are into psychology, they thrive well because they are able to open their doors, form create a platform where people come together and dialogue as individuals. You will see self-help groups where people come together as a group of 10, group of 12, group of 9, and they have a place where they meet up just to do what? To talk about issues, burning issues that they cannot discuss with their close friends or with their family members. And they just have now seen that platform as a safe place where they can talk about challenges that they are dealing with in their personal or private life, private lives. And these are areas where one can, you know, be able to deal with some of these issues. But in order not to digress, we're talking about linking nutrition to depression or to mental illness. So I mentioned the fact that the two types of clinical mental illnesses that we have clinical depression, we have schizophrenia, and I already talked about some of the symptoms that people would normally experience in the process of going through mental issues, and as highlighted. And when you look at the prevalence of depression in Nigeria, for example, I'm using Nigeria as a case study because it's our own country, it's our own climate. You would notice that even with previous research, when you talk about the age of onset of depression, you would realize that from previous research, you now find it common among young people. So it's not only common with people who are older. When you look at the looking at social demography of ages between 16 to 65, you now see that more younger people are coming down with mental illness, with depression, with schizophrenia, and with a lot of other things. Some other researchers have also said that it's common in females compared to male because we deal with a lot of hormonal issues and experiences, maybe on a monthly basis and all of that. You see, some women have mood swings and all of that because I'm dealing with my hormonal issues on a monthly basis and all of that. But this is just what research says. But how do we now, you know, use nutrition, you know, linking diet to mental illness to balance our approaches or strategies to helping people with mental illness? I would go on to talk about the fact that life events happen. There are psychological factors to it. And when you even also look at research, they say some researchers have said it's common it could be inherited, it could be found, it's hereditary as well. So, and it could be as a result of stress. So when you work so hard and you don't have time to, relax and take a break, not only from work, even from family life. And that's why you see a lot of people talking about self-love, self this, self
Yes.
that, even self-help, because of, lots of issues that people are going through in their personal lives that they cannot, they are not able to deal with on their own. And when you look at statistics in terms of suicidal rate in Nigeria as well, it's on the rise on a daily basis. And I would say that one of the reasons why that is also because some people abuse substances. People abuse chemicals, substances like drugs. You know, people take cocaine, people take codeine, and abuse some other, hard drugs. So, and that's why you see a lot of people coming down with, depression and all these other issues that has to do with mental illness. So it runs through the family, like I earlier said. It could be hereditary, it could be inherited through stress, it could be as a result of a psychological disorder as well. So how do we now address it using nutrition? One of the things that we talk about in nutrition as when we look at nutrients like polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6. I remember back in the days when I was growing up in secondary school, there was a particular girl that would always bring, there is this, what do you call it now? This fish oil capsule. I've forgotten the
Okay.
name they call it now.
Cod liver oil or something.
Cod liver oil.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I did not actually really understand what the importance of it, but I saw this person would normally bring it to school. It was part of her health kit whenever she came to school, and she was always taking it. She had she had what do you call it, prescription, how she should use it on a daily basis and all. And I discovered this person, really stood out, was extraordinarily, brilliant and intelligent. But over time, I started studying it and I discovered that, 20% of our brain is actually made up of polyunsaturated fatty acids. And in order to complement the work that the brain does, because everything is, connected, when you talk about uh, the neurological makeup of our body, from your brain to your spine to everything that happens in your neuro area, everything is all connected. And you see, is 20% of our brain is made up of PUFAs. That's what we call it. So in order for you to be able to uh, keep your body in the best state, you need to eat the right kind of food. And where you will find that mostly, if not in supplements like cod liver oil, as we earlier said, you will find them in fish, in your seafood. There are different types of seafood. You find them in your oily fish, like your silver egg, like your Titus, your different varieties of fish. You will find your omega-3s and 6 in all of this kind of foods. And eating a lot of fruit and vegetables also help to improve your mental status as a person. And other than that, looking at treatment of depression, there are different researches that have been done looking at different types of drugs to be taken, side effects, that comes from using some particular, type of, drugs, and looking at cognitive behavioral function. So, like I said earlier, if you feel that you are having mood swings or some, or you're feeling some type of way with your mood, and you take some particular type of foods, as I mentioned, it helps to increase it helps to when you take oily fish, when you take fruits and vegetables, when you take the type of foods that have omega-3s and omega-6, for example, it helps to improve how you feel. You feel motivated sometimes after eating some types of food. For example, uh, when I take oatmeal and chia seeds and I leave it overnight in the fridge and I had milk to eat, I had my fruits and my nuts, maybe almond nuts, or you had cashew nuts, for example. You just see that you have some kind of you have some kind of positive energy when you go out and engage in activities and you move out in the day to do, perform your daily activities or perform your daily tasks. You just see that you feel some type of way. There is this very good energy around you. There is this positive vibe when you eat some type of food. I don't know whether you feel that way, but I've tried some type of food, and I noticed that sometimes when I take too much of sugar, I feel I just feel really down, depressed, and all of that. But when you take lots of fruit, when you take lots of vegetable, it helps you to feel good. You feel some kind of positive energy. You feel some type of positive vibe
Yeah.
around you. And that's the reason why, people now started researching to say that how can we do better with helping people with mental wellness, tracking their diet, what they eat, creating menu plans to help people to, do better, to be able to understand their body, because this body, you don't even see what is happening on the inside,
Yeah.
but you keep on observing yourself to see how you feel when you eat some particular type of food. And that's why nutrition is allied health profession. You continue to work with your doctors, your nurses, to prescribe the right kind of nutrients to people based on how they feel on a case by case basis. You understand? So I think I would pause there for now, to allow you, ask further questions on how we can link nutrition, to improving our mental wellness.
Thank you so much, Dolapo. I was even going to ask, but I think you mentioned some of these, but we're still going to just list them out so that people can know these things, because I know that I support the fact that there are some food that you will eat and then it just makes your body feel kind of, sometimes when I take, for me, sugar, it only affects me maybe when I'm getting towards my menstrual cycle. So I feel like it just affects my mood in a way. But after that, I just am on the go after my menstrual cycle, so the menstrual period. So I agree to the fact that some food actually, they are good for your mood. So I would like you to just list out, there are some food that helps our brain, you know. So I just wanted to list out specifically some of these foods, and then really, what how can we preserve the nutrients in this food? Because I know that, like you said, a friend of yours in secondary school was bringing cod liver oil. So that means she was using that to supplement. It's not that we're not eating fish in school back then, but she really needed extra. So um, I just want to know, how can we preserve nutrients in our food? And if not, are there supplements to just, add up to what we eat to help our mood?
Okay, so I know that recently there's been a lot of conversation around the fact that because of the activities that go on in the farm, do we really get the nutrients that are in the foods that we produce? And I would say yes. I would also say no, because based on activities that happen on the farm, depending on whether, for example, a farmer, engages the best agronomic practices when they when they plant seeds or try to produce the food on the farm, for example. That's and how they harvest the food produce. All of these processes, you know, that a farmer engages in, or food producers, engage in the process of producing food from the farm till when it lands on our plate as consumers. All the processes that it's been engaged with in the value chain depending on what happens. That determines whether you're getting as much nutrients as you need as possible. A lot of people are talking about organic farming lately. It's been around for quite a number of decades. But I noticed that, in Nigeria, a lot of people have been talking about organic farming, not using too much fertilizers when you plant your foods and all of that, because it also has a lot to do with what you harvest when you produce food. And yes, it's right, it's true. And when you plant seed in a soil, for example, and like I earlier mentioned, and you don't engage in good agronomic practices, it's either the nutrients that the soil should give to the plants that you're currently working on. It's that the nutrients are not sufficient. Do you understand? It's either you're not really getting as much nutrients from the soil into that particular plant. And then when you now harvest again, depending on whether you leave them under the sun for too long and all of that, there are some vitamins, for example, you shouldn't put them in the sun for too long because somehow you lose this nutrient. And that's the reason why you see some people, they take their foods and they still use supplements in order to make up for whatever they think that they are missing in their diet, which is the ideal practice or the standard practice. So when you think that you don't know the amount of, so I buy carrot, for example, is harvested by a farmer. I really don't know how much not like I really don't know how much. I'm just talking about a layman, for example, doesn't really know whether he's getting enough of the nutrients that they need from a particular vegetable, for example. That's why you see some people will still go ahead to buy supplements or talk to their doctor or talk to their nurses to say that, can I get A, B, or C to add as supplements to to make up for what I am missing in my diet. And because we know that there are a lot of malpractices on the farm, that's also the reason why people take supplements to make up for what is lost in our diet. And because of environmental issues with climate change and all of that, erosion has washed off some of the nutrients that you should access through the soil, and some other practices that happen on the farm that you do not see as a consumer. Then you have to do the extra to ensure that you are getting as much nutrient that you need in your food. And if it is not sufficient, then why not? You go for supplement. You take your multivitamins and all the other things that you think that that will make the body to thrive well. So, like I earlier said, the normal type of foods